Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to break down what is a stock chart, how do stock charts help us, chart breakdown, different types of charts, and chart timeframes. I understand when people look at charts, they have a very hard time reading them, they have a very hard time analyzing them. So in this full lesson, we are going to break down on how to properly read them, and then in the upcoming lessons, we will start adding more and more pieces and components to better understand on analyzing a stock. So first and foremost, what is a stock chart? So a stock chart is simply a price chart that showcases a stock's price over a time frame along with other important information. So basically, when we look at a stock chart, we understand we're able to look at raw price action, raw price movement. We're able to identify what has happened, right? We're able to look at all of the important information depending on the time frame we select. I will break down what I mean by that, but I want you to understand that for now. So simply a stock chart once again showcases us raw price movement. It showcases the price action, showcases us what has happened in a stock's recent activity, right? So this is what a stock chart looks like. This is a candlestick chart. These right here are known as candlesticks. These are once again candlesticks. I will break down candlesticks in the upcoming video lesson, but for now, just understand that this is a candlestick chart. This is all raw price action. So this is how a stock chart will look, right? I'm going to break down the components of this, but this is how it's going to look. Now, depending on what platform or what broker you use, your chart is going to look a little bit different, but the functionality will be the same on each and every single platform. So this platform that I'm showcasing is a chart by TD Ameritrade's Think or Swim platform. This is the platform I use. So this is a chart that's showcased. So once again, this is by TD Ameritrade's platform called Think or Swim. That's the chart that we're looking at. That's the broker we're using, and that's how their chart is set up. Now, first and foremost, we have something called a ticker symbol here. So what is a ticker symbol? Ticker symbol is basically the code or abbreviation of a stock. So basically, this is for stock Apple. Now, Apple's company is spelled A-P-P-L-E. That's Apple, right? Now, since Apple is spelled like that, right, you can see appleincorporated.com. Their ticker symbol or abbreviation is going to be AAPL. So if you want to look them up in the market, you have to search for AAPL. You can't look them up by putting in their name. You have to put in their ticker symbol. The ticker symbol is found right here. So if you want to look for, let's say, Amazon, which is AMZN, that is their ticker symbol, right? So this is where the ticker symbol goes on a stock chart. Right here, we have all the stock information, right? We have the information of the date, where the stock opened, the highest, the lowest, the closing price. All of that information is showcased right here. Next, we have time frame. So as I mentioned in the slide before, you can select what time frame, right, you want to look at. So in this example, we are looking at stock Apple, AAPL, 6M1D. What does that mean? 6M1D. That means we have information here for the stock's price chart for 6 months, and each one of these candlesticks that you see with the green and the red, they represent information for 1 day. That is information for 1 day. This is a 6-month, 1-day chart. I can look at a 1D chart that would showcase me information for 1 year, and each candle would show me information for 1 day. I can look at 30Ds and let's say 15M. That would showcase me information for 30 days, and each candle would represent information for 15 minutes. And as we progress, you guys are going to see how that makes more and more sense. Next, we have price action. This is all price, right? So we have price on this chart. So on this side of the chart, we have the price. You guys can see this is where the price is. On this middle area, once again, you guys should be familiar with this now. This is all price action, raw price movement, raw price action of this stock chart, Apple. We have price action for the past 6 months. Each candle represents information for 1 day, right? So this is raw price action. Beyond that, right here, we have volume. We're going to break down volume too in the upcoming lessons, but volume is showcasing us the number of transactions taking place. So depending on what day I click on, it will show me the volume for that time period, right? How many transactions happened for this particular stock. And then finally, down here we have dates, right? This area is going to show us the dates, right? What date we're looking at, what time period it is. It's going to give us all of that information down here. Once again, we have the price, volume, price action is here. We have all the stock information, time frame, and we are looking at the ticker symbol, right? So this is a candlestick chart example. Now, how do stock charts help us? How can we use them to our advantage? So stock charts help us by predicting future price movements by analyzing past data, such as volume, patterns, supply and demand areas, also known as support and resistance, and direction. So we look at stock charts to identify the following. We identify the following, right, to identify what will most likely happen in the future. So once again, stock charts help us predict future price movements by analyzing past data, right? Now let me show you an example. Now right here we have stock Apple, right? As I've shown you guys before, you can see stock Apple, AAPL. We're on stock Apple 3-year 1-day chart. That means all of this information is for 3 years, and each one of these candles, which is the red and the green bars, represents information for 1 day. Now when you look at a price chart, right, our job is to identify levels of supply, levels of demand, known as support and resistance, which is something we're going to cover as we progress. And when we do that, we identify that at this level, right, we have a level of resistance, right? This was demand before, this was support. Now that support is broken. Now we understand there's a probability that this can or may get rejected, or it can even break out. But this is a level that we have to be aware of, known as support and resistance, known as our levels of supply and demand. Once again, as we progress, I'm going to break this down more so you can understand how to apply it. But for now, just focus on what's in front of us. So we look at the past history and we identify this is a critical level. We also identify that stock Apple is moving in an up direction, right? So we understand what is happening right now. We use what is happening now to predict what will most likely happen. So as we progress, right, once again, demand levels, support area, supply level, resistance area, we have the direction, and then as we progress, you guys can see what happens. Same thing, demand levels, resistance levels, direction, and look what happens. Stock was in an up direction, it gets rejected by our resistance area, also known as our supply level. Once again, we will cover this in the upcoming lessons, and you can see once it gets rejected, you can see how and what happens to the stock. Stock starts going down. As it starts going down, the stock is now switching direction. We analyze that by looking at a price chart. We analyze that by looking at a simple price chart and looking at price action. This is all price action. Obviously, there's other factors that I mentioned before that play a role, such as market news, company sentiment. All of that goes into price action, right? But looking at a stock chart, we can actually see what is happening. People are more aggressively selling. People are aggressively buying. We're able to identify the story between the buyers and the sellers. So stock chart showcases us that information. Now, what I want you to understand, there's two types of stock charts. There's a line chart and there is a candlestick chart. So I'm going to show you both charts so you can understand the difference. This is a line chart. If you look here, line chart. We're looking at stock AAPL Apple, 1 year, 1 day. So we have information for 1 year, and each tick represents information for 1 day, right? 1 year, 1 day. This is stock Apple, AAPL. We are looking at a line chart. Now, let's look at a candlestick chart. Same stock, same time frame, same everything. Apple 1 year, 1 day from the same period. You can look. So we have a candlestick chart, and then I'm going to go back and we have a line chart. Candlestick chart, line chart, candlestick chart, line chart, candlestick chart, line chart. Now if you look here, what difference do you see? If you analyze this, you can see in the candlestick chart, there's far more information. There's a lot more information here opposed to a line chart. So a line chart, which is not something we're going to use candlestick charts. A line chart is only showing us the closing price, right? It is showcasing us where did the stock close for the day. It's only showing us closing prices. It's showing us the stock closed here. Stock closed here, right? It's not showing us what has happened throughout the day, right? Now, what showcases us what has happened throughout the day? Candlestick charts. Candlestick charts show us where the stock opened, right? The first transaction of the day, the highest point, right? We have the highest point the stock went to. We have the lowest point the stock went to, and the closing price. I will break this down in the upcoming lessons, but for now, let's just understand. Candlestick charts showcase us everything from where the stock opened to where it closed, to the highest point and to the lowest point of that particular time period, which is 1 day. So we are able to see more information on a candlestick chart, which is why we will be using candlestick charts. And in the upcoming lessons, once again, I will dive into candlesticks and break it down completely for you. Now the question people have is chart time frames. Can you select different time frames? What time frames do I select? But let's first understand the different type of time frames. So you can change a chart's time frame to almost any time period you want. For example, you can change it to something called intraday time frame. This is a trading time period showcasing price action within 1 day, such as a 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, hourly chart, and so on. So I can select the intraday chart, right? And whenever you hear the term intraday, it's showcasing information for maybe like a 5-minute chart, right? Maybe a 15-minute chart, maybe a 1 hourly chart, and so on. Anything that's showing us information for that day, inside that day, right? Next, we have a daily time frame. Daily time frame is a trading time period showcasing price action based on 1 day intervals. So daily time frame, each candle will showcase us information for 1 day. Intraday time frames, once again, will show us information for each 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever we select. And then we can also select a weekly time frame. Weekly time frames are trading time periods showcasing price action based on 1 week intervals. Now let's look at this so you understand it. This right here is a daily time frame for Amazon, right? If you look here, stock Amazon AMZN is the ticker symbol, 6 month, 1 day. We have information for 6 months. Each candle here represents information for 1 day, right? This is a 6 month, 1 day daily time frame. Right now, a daily time frame is showcasing us each candle here, which is a candlestick, represents information for 1 day. I'm on a 6 month, I can be on a 1Y, which represents 1 year. That would also mean that I'm on a daily time frame, but now I'm looking at information for 1 year. When I go next, you can see same stock, Amazon, 5D 15M. This means this information here is for 5 days, and each one of these candles represents information for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Each one of these bars, the green and the red, showcases information for 15 minutes. This is a 15-minute intraday time frame, and I have information for the past 5 days. If I change this and I looked at information for the past 20 days, let's say I 20D 15M, right? That would still be a 15-minute intraday time frame. I just have information for the past 20 days, but the main thing is each candle represents information for 15 days. Now, when you usually go on an intraday time frame, right, like a 15-minute, a 5-minute, 1 minute, you'll see 2 shades of colors. These 2 shades of colors represents different market times. So this is normal market hours, as we went over in the previous lessons. This is after hours, and this is pre-market. normal market hours, after hours, pre-market. Just to kind of refresh that for anyone that has forgotten, just keep that in mind. That's why it has two different shades, right? Let's go to the next slide. Now we are on Amazon, 1 minute time frame for 1 day. So we have information for 1 day, and each one of these candles, which once again I will break down in a bit, represents information for 1 minute. This is showcasing us everything that has happened for 1 exact minute. 1 minute this happened, the next minute that happened, third minute that happened, fourth minute that happened, fifth minute that happened. So showcasing us more within each and every single minute time period. Now the question a lot of people have is, all right, I got the time frames. There's a bunch of different time frames. What time frame should I watch? What is the main time frame to focus on? Now, ultimately, that depends on your trading style and what type of strategy you gravitate towards. We will cover this. We are going to cover different type of time frames and different strategies. So as we cover that, I will break down what time frames to look at and how to analyze. But what I want you to take away from this lesson is that you can look at different time frames, and based on the way you trade, what your trading style is, and what your strategy is, you need to understand what time frames you will be looking at. And once again, I will cover that in the upcoming lesson.